no legal or moral standing on our soil. We do not recognize them. I therefore call on all observers to disregard and disqualify any electoral results purported to come from the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. What we witnessed on the 12th is the familiar pattern of organized thievery, a fraudulent ritual orchestrated by CPDM corrupt machinery of colonial administrators, Ekane officials, party stewards, soldiers, and hired thugs. Let me begin by thanking the Ambazonian State Armed Forces, our volunteer enforcers, civil society groups, and the general population of the Southern Cameroons who adhered to the nationwide sit-in strike across our territory. You accomplished this demanding task with discipline and professionalism. Reports reaching my desk from our defense and civil networks, corroborated by independent media sources, all confirm that you preserved order, protected civilians, and achieved a 95% boycott of La République du Cameroon's electoral charade. The world now knows or recognizes the truth. We are not part of La République du Cameroon. We do not participate in its electoral shows, and we cannot be governed by those we did not choose. To accept otherwise will be to endorse continued annexation. My fellow warriors of the revolution, this conflict will not be resolved at any table dressed by retired or compromised actors, those who traded principle for position or personal comfort. A genuine and lasting settlement must involve those who represent the living will of the people, not those who have abandoned the cause of self-determination and now beg for crumbs at the oppressor's table. We celebrate all who have suffered for us for this cause and now endure imprisonment. But we shall not excuse betrayal after release. Sympathy must never replace loyalty to the cause for which thousands have died. We are a new generation of Southern Cameroonians. We will not be deceived by appearances or softened by sentiments. By their fruits we shall know them.
In the shadows we were fractured beneath the weight of silent tears. Chains of history, scars unspoken, but now we stand confronting fears. From the ashes of our sorrow, a flame ignites, we break the spell. With every heartbeat, whispers follow, the tale of strength we know so well. Rise, Ambazonia, hear our call. Together we rise forever free. With every dawn we paint the skies a tapestry of dreams reborn, no longer bound by silent cries, our rightful path together sworn. Through the struggles and the battles, in every heart a warrior's fire. For the dreams that our ancestors battled, we reach the summit, climb higher and higher. Rise, Ambazonia, hear our call. Through the storm, we'll stand tall. In the heart of our land, freedom song. With unwavering spirit, forget our name. With every voice we're breaking chains. Recognition on the horizon's frame. Encourage hope, our love remains. With pride we tread in the open air. A sovereign nation we declare. From the ruins of a life undone, a future bright, together we run. Ambazonia, hear our call. Through the storm, we'll stand tall. In the heart of a land, freedom song. With unwavering spirit, we will belong. From the mountains to the rivers wide, we reclaim our faith with hope as our guide. On October 1st, hear our unity. Together we rise forever free. So let the banners fly high and proud. In the story of freedom we're the loud. Ambazonia, our hearts entwined. In the spirit of justice, our futures align. Together we sing, together we soar. In the embrace of sovereignty forevermore.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to this very important broadcast. We appreciate your patience and we apologize for any delay for the start of this program. We're trying to get all the panelists on board because of the importance of the discussion. So once again, you're welcome. I'm calling on all those who are watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, and via all our social media platforms to ensure that you inform somebody with your shares that we're live, and keep sending those comments. This is a conversation. We would like your full participation. And even before we start, I hope you're aware that the altercations between the Ministry of Sports in neighboring French Cameroon and Fecafoot, the altercations and squabbles is all a well-calculated, well-scripted and executed destruction. Oh yes, I hope you're very much aware of that. It is calculated, it is scripted, and it is a script that is currently being played out. So when you hear Eto doing the things he's doing, and the minister and his team and doing everything they're doing, and the success they're attaining with that strategy is that they are successfully distracting the youths of neighboring Cameroon, most especially from critical discussion. Right now, we know the French and the Cameroon government have always used the instrument of manipulation and intimidation. And one way to manipulate a person is to subject them at a position of vulnerability. They have used alcohol for ages. We are very much aware of that. They've used football. I'm in the social media space. Even the death of Anicet, Ekane, is not really being, in fact, the youths are largely disinclined to that conversation. The Chiruma effect has been strategically quieted, whether you agree that or not. Little or very little talk is being said about Chiruma. But there is one contention that Cameroon has right now, and which is the focus of tonight's conversation. And there is this person who is consistent and constant, unwavering, undeterred in every of his action. And this person is President Samuel Ekane. Every attempt to reach him directly has failed, and Cameroon will continually use their proxies and detractors in many different ways just to distract the people of Ambazonia that are focused under his leadership. I'm sure some of you would have heard the sad discussions on a certain platform, Mr. Anu's platform. I've not watched it. I saw just the caption, and I heard a few sentences from Bariku and Chris Anu. I didn't watch it for up to a minute because I don't have time for trash, but I've been well briefed with some of the things that were said. I'm even told that people like Nilong were in the platform, and Ambazonians want me to talk about him. But Nilong, when I look at Nilong and I profile him, just calling his name now is a lot of credit given to him, because there is really nothing to say about poor Nilong. Is some of you are just not aware about poor Nilong. The only reason you would have me talk about Chris Anu today is because of the fact that he has positioned himself as the hitman of the colonial government against the true leadership of the movement. A few things I'd like to remind you. We have some videos here. I like to play these videos to remind you. Some of you most probably would have forgotten, but I'm going to take it from the genesis and I will explain it step by step for your comprehension. Let's watch this video.
What success Congo is showing shows that success in Congo has a hand in the arrest of Sisiku and the Nera 10. So let him look.
All right, I think you have made you've made the point. Let him attempt an answer. Thank you for the call, so others can call.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Chris.
So he is
Mr.
asking
Chris,
whether you had a hand in the abduction of Sisiku.
Mr. Chris, I want you to know the person who have a hand in the abduction of Sisiku. Listen to this now.
Okay. Go under the surface. I'm listening. Hold on, please. Hold on.
Now,
go on.
This is Colonel Banquet confirming that you, Mr. Chris, are the one that have a hand in the abduction of Sisiku. Did you hear it? Was I there?
Take that again.
Oh, you want me to play it again?
I was distracted here.
Yes, Colonel Banquet of the Secret Service in Cameroon confirming that you are the one that have a hand in the abduction of Sisiku and co. I want you to listen.
No, you don't come to my show and you play an audio. I am the only host here. I am the only host here to play audios and to ask questions. You are muted, so that didn't even go out. You are muted. But see.
So, as you can see, the criminal strategically muted success in Congo. If you look at Chris Anu's body language, you realize that this is not a false accusation. So Sisiku had those he called comrades, Milan still having a gray area. We handled that last week, and we didn't have opportunity to get into some of the depths. Milan is here to explain to us how he mysteriously missed his flight and why he slept at Nera Hotel and he was not arrested. And for the very first time, the right-hand man of Sisiku was not in a meeting. So during which time, this is the picture I want to paint. Now, this is not alleged. This is Colonel Bankwi. And you may be saying that, okay, maybe it is just a witch hunt. But there is an exceptional romance between Colonel Bankwi and Chris Ano. I have the videos, I'm going to play them. But let's take it step by step. So Chris Ano, confirmed by Colonel Bankwi, are among the Ambazonians that implicated the Nera 10. And you want to ask your question, but why did he do so? I'll tell you why. This is a man that has always had the ego for leadership. He's always wanted to be leader after he stopped being a blogger. People call him a journalist, but he has never ever had any profile in journalism that can be talked on. One thing, and his blog became famous only when the struggle started in 2016 and he was writing nonsense, criticizing Sisiku. Now, Sisiku, in his wisdom at the time, thought that he should bring him close. Little did Sisiku know that he was just bringing one of those that were going to plot for his abduction. It didn't end there. Chris Ano, nobody could ever have believed. And Chris Ano was in the government of President Sako. So sometime around 2018 into 2019, he was a special envoy from the interim government, the then interim government, to Somaliland, because there were diplomatic talks between Ambazonia and Somaliland. And Chris Ano purportedly for orientation, during which time Chris Ano had a rencontre, an encounter with Bankwi again. And this time, their next target, because Chris Ano met with Bankwi, I don't have that video, but it is out there. It was confirmed by him himself that they met. He said it on air that he met Bankwi, but he was not arrested. But they plotted something for President Sako to be kidnapped. President Sako actually had agreed to pay a diplomatic visit to Africa. Chris Ano was pushing this unwaveringly. Now, when the president got intelligence of this information and decided not to go, Chris Ano was very furious and very angry. Very, very angry. So the next step, he's a hitman of Cameroon. Right now, he's under fire because he's not delivering. So Cameroon, the French uses two strategies. They come with you with bribery and they come with intimidation. So they are using Nsoh to intimidate Chris Ano, because Chris Ano is a dull person. I've always said so. Even when I was working with him in the communications department, I told people, this man is just an opportunity. He really doesn't have sense. And I'm not insulting him. I'm just describing fact. Have you listened to him when he's talking about federation, referendum? This is a man that cannot give an expose of Ambazonia's history. But he wants to lead Ambazonia. It's just clear that he's leading Ambazonia. So Chris Ano foolishly has implicated himself, and Salah is against him right now. So when he's not delivering, they are using Salah to threaten him. So for Chris Ano, according to him, for him to stay out of the jails of the United States by allegedly committing crimes in the United States with his foolish activism, Chris Ano is trying by every means, because Cameroon has their intelligence, even on the ground, to make sure that he implicates President Sako at all costs. Nsoh cannot get to President Sako because he has failed to do so in many different ways. You will never find President Sako in criminal deals or anything that is a crime against the laws of the United States of America. So Nsoh cannot, but get to Chris Arnold. Now you want to ask me, why is Chris Arnold resurfacing with a caption, President Sako is still a liability in the struggle? I don't want to talk about that because, in my opinion, for him, after 3 years of being a failure, for him to come today to make such a caption simply advises me that he is aware that he's a failure. I thought you started a government. Where's the government? I thought you were president. Where's the presidency? Where are those you distracted? So, Mr. I brought the deal. I'm coming with the next video. When he failed to have President Sako in Africa to be kidnapped like Sisiku, he now, intelligence has it that Chris Arnold actually had a deal, a CDC deal, and he testified to that. But I'm going to explain how he had that deal and the fact that he testified to that only when you would have watched this video. I'm going to explain that. He confessed that with his own mouth in an attempt to sabotage President Sako. This is what Chris.
One thing I know, Mayfor, is the CDC deal. Dr. Samuel Sako cannot say it did not exist because I took it to him. One thing I know, Mayfor, is the CDC deal. Dr. Samuel Sako cannot say it did not exist because I took it to him. One thing I know, Mayfor.
Did you hear that? So, President Sako cannot say he is not aware because I brought it to him. So he brought the deal. He's saying that he was the organizer of a deal. And he brought the deal. Listen, let me ask a question to you who is watching. If I organize a deal, we can all bring things to the president, right? It's left for the president to be involved. There's one thing, a deal was brought. There's another thing, was the deal executed or did the president participate? And this is where none of these individuals have been able to come up with any evidence that shows that when they brought the deal, because there are a lot of them, many of them brought the deal. Maybe that deal was concocted to implicate the president and he really didn't gain any interest, because I'm made to understand that he did not even participate. So Mr. I brought the deal, but they did not participate. Now, he thought that saying that I brought the deal was going to mean that the president has sold out, but you brought the deal, meaning that you know the source of the deal. Can you, Mr. Chris Arnold, tell the people of Ambazonia what happened to the deal that you brought? Because President Sako requested for evidence, and the current president that you left doesn't see the evidence. Epa himself has testified that he has asked you for evidence and you've not been able to produce even one of them. So you may be asking me, but why am I talking like this? It's because at this time that we are speaking, there is pressure on La République du Cameroun pressure on La République du Cameroon because intelligence is seeping out from Yaoundé that Yaoundé is slowly poisoning Ambazonian prisoners of war. So as I speak to you, Sisiku and the others are not aware. They are probably in bed with some individuals in Yaoundé thinking that's going to liberate them, but they are killing them. They probably will not want to kill them like they kill Ekane. We also have intelligence that they were planning to arrest Issa Chiruma because they were aware of his medical condition. Yesterday, I was watching a video. Atanganji Paul said they were aware of Anicet's medical condition. So they took him to SED. He didn't say that when they took him to SED, they were not going to give him good medical condition. But reports has it that this man was tortured. He was refused medication. The exact same strategy they wanted to use to make sure that they kill Issa Chiruma. Now, our brothers and sisters that are in their dungeons, especially the big figures, have been poisoned. And if Cameroon is saying that they're not poisoned, then we need an independent medical team to go and test them outside that place. Cameroon has to debunk. We have intelligence that it is either they will allow you to suffer and die because law, international law stipulates if you arrest a person during war, you have to feed them. You have a responsibility. The lawyers are going to talk more on this. You have a responsibility to make sure that they are healthy. But if they can kill Anicet, who is not trying to supposedly split the Cameroons, they intentionally kill him. One more Sisiku. Meaning that the information we are getting, that Sisiku and the others that are there right now, most probably have been poisoned, is true. So how is Chris Anu a facilitator of this deal right now? Chris Anu is trying to distract the conversation of our prisoners that are facing a very critical situation right now. So all of a sudden, Chris Anu, in his joblessness, stands up a show with a preposterous caption: President Sako is an asset. Really? A liability? I don't want to talk about that because even in his own expression and his body language, he knows that's not true. So you may be doubting what the relationship of Chris Anu and Banqui is. That maybe we're just accusing Chris Anu and it is not true that Chris Anu has. Chris Anu has a love relationship with Banqui. They communicate very regularly as friends. And if you're doubting again, watch this.
Yes. Hello?
Hello, Amy.
How are you? How are you doing, Chris?
I am doing excellent, sir. How are you doing?
Have you heard a new message or not there? How is station there in United States?
I'm sorry?
The news, do you have a good news or bad news there in United States? How?
I expect to hear good news or bad news from you, who is at the center of the universe now. Yaoundé or Cameroon is the center of the universe now.
Yes. No, you know that you can give me you can have a possibility to give me good information too, because you get a boy on the ground. You know that your boys have some information that I don't have.
Emir, you sit on information in set Yaoundé, and you should have. I mean, you are the secret agent of La République who knows what is going to happen where at any time on any day.
I have taken my retirement.
Well, I'm really not interested in that conversation, but I just wanted you to understand that Chris Anu is not, it is an understatement for anybody to say that Chris Anu is an enabler. No. Chris Anu is a legitimate proxy of the Cameroon government, purporting as an Ambazonian. When Issa Chiruma went to Bamenda and said Chris Anu is his friend, that was not a political statement. It was a statement of accurate fact. Now, what was the calculation of the Chris Anu and the Agbobalas and the Rebecca Enonchungs and these journalists, veteran journalists? Calculate, because these are all traitors of the people of the Saudi Cameroons. And they were thinking that in their failed political stance, the election was going to give them a leeway to finally just seal the deal and to set Ambazonians for life, all the Arab gingers. But one thing they did not realize is that they do not have leverage, political collateral, to make such negotiations on the people, on behalf of the people of the Southern Cameroons. And the chances for Chiruma to win or even to take over power, in my opinion, is really slim. So they had a secret deal with Chiruma. The deal has failed. So he's resurfacing the sabotage of the leadership of Amazonia right now, not just to distract, but again, at every time Ambazonians are focused, they are willing to make progress, Chris Anu comes up with a distraction. He wrote a stupid message in the cabinet at a time when the war was being won. There was an active political discussions with the Swiss government. Chris Anu said the government was not functioning rightly. Now you want to ask me, where is this guy coming with this message at this time? This man is a flop. He's a failure. He is a dangerous failure. And then he calls the president and a liability. Mbariku's anger, I know he was a part of that conversation, is because the prime minister in Yaoundé tried at every given count to use Mbariku. Somebody had given intelligence that they could easily get to the president through Mbariku. Now, Mbariku knows that I know this information. He spoke about recording the president's speech in his home. I was the one doing the recording virtually from his home. So that is a truthful statement. We recorded the president's speech there. That is true. So, meaning that there was a relationship, fact. Also, that he tried to link the president with the prime minister of Cameroon, and the president will not agree, fact. Now, when they failed to get the president coerced in this bribery and fraud, and to betray the people of Ambazonia, their anger against President Sako escalated. For those who are not aware, I'm trying to bring this information so that you understand the reason for the foolishness. Because if you do not know this story, you might understand it. So when they tried killing the president or kidnapping him in Africa and he refused going to Africa, they tried destroying the government, it failed. They brought a concocted CDC deal that even the person that was involved in the deal in Europe was ready to flee, and they had no evidence. It didn't work. Ambazonians waited for evidence and they didn't see it and didn't buy it. They now have to use different strategies. But all these are strategies. Ambazonians have been worried, and that's why I thought it was necessary to spend this time to refresh your memories of the game plan so you can understand the pattern and the trend of events. Cameroon is playing the same card because they have lost all creativity, and Ambazonia is making progress like never before. We're going to go into the newsroom right now. The lawyers are beaming. I want you people to share very widely because Barrister Fru, Barrister Mbeseha, and Commander Zama have something very important to tell you. We will be back just after we take these reports that align with the discussion we're supposed to be having this evening. There's so much happening that we want to talk to you about. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
On the global scene this week, significant diplomatic shifts are unfolding. After years of tension, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have reached a major breakthrough, with both leaders signing a peace accord in Washington, a move welcomed by the United States President Donald Trump. This agreement signals renewed hope for stability in the region. Meanwhile, we see that in East Africa, Kenya's newly announced health sector deal in the United States is drawing international attention, marking a step forward in regional cooperation and development. However, not all these developments on the continent reflect the spirit of unity. Somali immigrants in the United States are facing mounting uncertainty following President Donald Trump's renewed rhetoric about sending all Somali nationals back from Minnesota, a move that has sparked fear and criticism across diaspora communities. Now, while we looked at these stories tonight, we shift our focus to the Middle East, where questions continue to surround the Gaza peace deal championed by President Trump. Have the conditions truly been met? And what does this mean for the region? Welcome to Global News. I am Tabitha Arko. Let's begin. Efforts to solidify the US-backed deal in the Gaza war have reached a critical stage as mediators struggle to advance the next phase of a ceasefire, Qatar's Prime Minister said on Saturday. Speaking at the Doha Forum, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani said the current pause in hostilities remains fragile and falls short of a full ceasefire. He stressed that a lasting halt to the conflict would require the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza and also restore stability that allows civilians to move freely, conditions that have not yet been met. Let's take a look.
We are at a critical moment. It's not yet there. So it's what we have just done is a pause. We cannot consider it yet a ceasefire. A ceasefire cannot be completed unless there is a full withdrawal of the Israeli forces. There is stability back in Gaza. People can go in and out, which is not the case.
Talks continue around implementing the next steps of President Trump's proposed plan to end the two-year conflict. The initiative calls for an interim technocratic Palestinian administration in Gaza, overseen by an international board of peace and also supported by a multinational security force. Negotiations over the composition and mandate of that force remain one of the most difficult elements of the peace deal. On Thursday, Israeli negotiators met mediators in Cairo to discuss the return of the final hostage held in Gaza, a key benchmark in the plan. Now, since the fragile truce took effect, Hamas has handed over all 20 surviving hostages and 27 bodies in exchange for roughly 2,000 and prisoners.
This is the voice of Ambazonia International, a production of ABC Network's 24, radio and television crossfire of conscience, presented by MC Crichton, Truth for Resistance, Clarity for Crisis. Fellow Ambazonians, today we bring truth, Truth that rumors cannot bury and enemies cannot deny. If colonial bullets could not stop us, we must not allow internal gossip and sabotage to weaken our resolve. Let us state it plainly. Dr. Samuel Ekane Sako is Ambazonia's greatest strategic asset today. The fear consuming Yaoundé. Ask yourself this serious question. Why did the regime flee the Swiss-led talks? Why did they abandon the Canadian process? Why are they now attempting to hide under Vatican influence? Because wherever true diplomacy stands up, the name Dr. Samuel Ekane Sako sends a chill through Yaoundé. They can manipulate many people, but they cannot control the legitimate president of Ambazonia. Not Marianta, not Crisanu, not Sisiku Ayuktabe, not Ebenezer Akwanga, not Ayaba Cho or Milan Atam. It is Dr. Sako they fear. They have watched him turn every political trap into Ambazonian progress, the achievements that terrify the oppressor. First, Dr. Sako placed Ambazonia at state-level diplomatic negotiations. Switzerland, Canada, now high Vatican attention. The world increasingly recognizes that Ambazonia is a nation, not a colonial property. Second, he built genuine government structures, National Treasury Executive Cabinet, Diplomatic Corps, coordinated self-defense roadmap, humanitarian support systems. Everything the occupier believed we would never achieve, we achieved under his leadership. Third, Ambazonia entered permanent international legal records, United Nations, submissions, Commonwealth communications, international court procedures. As long as global institutions exist, Ambazonia exists within them, the empty voices of distractors. Some think leadership is measured by nightclub appearances in the diaspora, selfies in fast food joints, or talking for hours on Facebook Live. Yet these same loud voices have liberated no community, supported no refugee, funded no defense action, delivered no achievement. They once claimed government authority but produced nothing, so they attack the one who built something real. Their jealousy is not strategy. Their division is not patriotism. The president who remained on duty, while others chased cameras and online popularity, while egos destroyed unity on social media, while opportunists commercialized the revolution. Dr. Sako remained focused on governing quiet, disciplined presidential. He does not seek attention, he seeks victory. He does not perform for applause, he builds for independence. The core truth. My people, rumor is cheap, freedom is costly. Those who sacrifice understand the truth. Dr. Sako represents stability. Dr. Sako represents legitimacy. Dr. Sako represents international credibility. Dr. Sako represents Ambazonian victory taking shape. The enemy knows it, the international community knows it, even the saboteurs know it, and that is why they fear him. For the record of history, a day will come when our children will read the story of this struggle. Let what they find be the truth we defend now. Ambazonia has one legitimate president, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ekane Sako, a servant leader who turns scattered hope into a structured nation the world must account for. History does not honor rumor, history honors courage, and the truth will read. When distraction rose from within, Ambazonia stood with the builder, Dr. Samuel Ekane Sako. Truth for resistance, clarity for crisis, victory for Ambazonia. This is MC Crichton for the Voice of Ambazonia International, a production of ABC Networks 24, radio and television. God bless Ambazonia. Long live the Federal Republic. Long live the homeland we must free.
The lull in violence since the October 10th deal has been uneven. Israel has continued targeted strikes and demolition operations it says are aimed at Hamas infrastructure, while both sides accuse each other of violating the U.S. brokered agreement. Now, this is development over there coming from Gaza. Now, moving over to what is happening right here in Tanzania. Tanzania's decision to ban Independence Day demonstration is intensifying concerns about the country's political trajectory, raising questions about its commitment to democratic freedoms just weeks after a disputed election triggered deadly unrest. You can see that right on the screen. The police announcement effectively shuts down what would have been the first major test of civic mobilization since President Samia Suluhu Hassan contentious re-election in October. The vote, marred by the disqualification of key opposition candidates, prompted a nationwide protest that rights groups say resulted in hundreds of deaths and thousands of arrests, an episode seen by observers as one of the country's worst rights crises in years. Now, the United Nations Human Rights Office has urged authorities to safeguard freedom of assembly and adopt de-escalation measures, signaling growing international unease over Tanzania's handling of dissent. The police, however, justified the ban by accusing protest organizers of plotting to disrupt essential services and paralyze economic activity on 9th December. But is that genuine? We see that the United States has also announced a review of its relationship with Tanzania, citing concerns over religious freedom, freedom of expression, barriers to investment in civilian harm, and unusual public rebuke that underscores shifting global perceptions of the country's governance. The escalating tension now places Tanzania at a crossroad. Will the government accommodate dissent, the people, and rebuild public trust? Or will the crackdown deepen the country's democratic retreat? I mean, this is Independence Day, and then there is a memo to say that people should not go out to even protest or to celebrate. And maybe this is fair. Are the government scared of something? Now, moving over, hundreds of residents in Mogadishu demonstrated on Friday in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's recent comments describing Somali immigrants as garbage, remarks that have intensified tensions between Washington and Somalia's global diaspora communities. Let's take a look.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks. And we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other. And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Trump's statement made during a cabinet meeting earlier in the week included claims that Somali Americans contribute nothing to the United States. The comments immediately drew criticism from U.S. lawmakers, Somali officials, and community leaders who said the remarks fueled xenophobia and undermined the contributions of immigrant communities. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responded to Trump's comments. Let's take a listen.
The president has always had very bigoted, xenophobic, Islamophobic comments when it comes to, people who are of Muslim faith or people who are Black. We've seen him call African nations as shitholes, and so it's not really surprising. But what is weird to me is just how creepy he's been obsessed with me and the Somali community. I mean, the Somali community is very resilient. We're very strong. We are not going to be intimidated or scapegoated. And I think we are seeing just an outpouring of support from our Minnesota neighbors. And so I just know that this is not going to cause any harm to our community.
Ilhan's take over there. Now we see that in Mogadishu, protesters marched through the street holding photos of U.S. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, one of the most prominent Somali American officials and a frequent critic of the Trump administration. Demonstrators denounced the remarks as an attack on their dignity and national identity, framing the comment as part of a broader pattern of hostility towards immigrants. Let's take a look. Congresswoman seems to be the hero for the Somalis. Now, an estimated 250,000 Somalis live in the United States, many of them in Minnesota, where Trump's remarks were linked to reports of fraud in state social security programs issues that local officials say cannot be used to generalize an entire community. Minnesota's leadership, including Governor Tim Walz, has condemned the president's language. We see that the protests in Mogadishu highlight the continuing sensitivity around identity, migration, and political rhetoric issues that resonate far beyond U.S. borders and raises the clear question about how such statements influence America's relationship when it comes to the diaspora population and even African partners. Now, this is development right here. With this, we'll be heading over to recent happenings coming from the Hope Front. But before then, we'll be heading it over to our news director, Mr. Tarh.
Thank you for that global news there. I think I'll bring the lawyers now for us to have a conversation. So I want to tell those who are watching us, unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about Paddy long because there's nothing to talk about him, you know. You know, when you see a crying baby with an oozing nostrils and you call the baby to come so you can clean the best you can do is to clean the catheter that is flowing out. But a stubborn one, you know, you can't do anything. Let's come to think about it. Have you ever heard that individual, Nilong, Paul Nilong? What is it about the Pauls? You have Paul Atanganji, Paul Biya, Paul. There's a problem with that name. Have you ever heard him say anything that makes any sense? So what is there to talk about? He's a crying baby. There's really nothing to say about Paul. It's a waste of time. You know, so I'm sorry because I don't have anything to talk about him. Let's let him continue to cry. The day he wants us to clean his nostrils, he comes. I'm willing to do that for him. So keep sharing while we continue this program. Barrister Fru, Barrister Mbeseha, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for being so patient. We are at a very critical moment. Last night, Mr. Chris Gov't, he zoomed this again with a dangerous discussion. And I thought that was important at a time when we have intelligence that our prisoners of war have been poisoned in the dungeons of La République du Cameroon. And we're calling on the Cameroon government, we're calling on the international community to take very great notice of that. Before we get into that, I know you all have something for us to talk about it. You probably would have seen some of the videos out there with Chris captioning that the president will bomb this, that the president is a liability. There's no substance to that, but rather that we focus on explaining very well to the people the objective of ye coming up with that rhetoric. And I'll begin with you, Barrister Fru. Good evening and welcome. Good evening, Dr. Zama. Good evening, Barrister Mbeseha. Barrister Fru, please.
Yes, Paddy. I don't watch Chris Anu's television that much, but from ground zero or the home front where I was, the first person who contacted me to defend the Naira 10 was Chris Anu. And before he called me, I had listened to his arrival in Nigeria, his chaotic press conference, which really did not explain anything about the Naira 10, either way, left or right. He babbled and left. The question I ask is, why did Chris Anu come to Nigeria? Because while we were on the home front, trying to decipher where the Naira 10 were when they were kidnapped from Nigeria, where there's another La Republic agent in the name of Mbakoro told the world that they have been killed and thrown into the ocean. I did not believe any of those, because the circumstances under which they were put in that plane, those that were left behind, i.e., what is his name again? A young or whatever name that is, and Malova B for having Nigerian passports. And the whole scenario kept me wondering where these people were. Paddy, you did not play the interview that Chris Anu had with a television anchor man in Houston called Ngumba somebody. I don't know. You remember that interview? It's in your archives. His relation, his conversation with Banqui around that time left most to be desired. So when I came to the United States and I met Chris Anu as the Secretary of State for Communication, and I was on his show a couple of times, I kept telling myself that this man, I don't know why he is where he is, because it is not clear to me why Chris Anu is running the ABC Amba TV. But I had no power to question anybody because I was new in the United States. But I kept suspecting Chris Anu. Immediately Ngumba brought that his interview with Chris Anu and accused Chris Anu directly for communicating and working with Colonel Banqui. Chris Anu said nothing. All he did was, why are you doing this? Who planted you? He even blocked doing that interview, and I kept suspecting. And I remember one day in the cabinet, because Chris Anu had his agents right in the cabinet. One of them was Dr. Abongwa, and the other one was John Ogawa. And in the cabinet, Abongwa threatened the president that if he doesn't do this, I will do this. Listen, let me finish my story. Let me finish my story before I lost the thread.
No, the sound is disturbing. There's a sound that is making people not to hear you.
My sound?
Yes, at the back. Please, do you want to remove it? There's the TV.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's interrupting your sound.
Yes. When I was there in the cabinet, and Abongwa gave an ultimatum to the president. And when we met in the cabinet, I don't know whether Barrister Mbeseha was there. I asked the question: if the president does not do what you say, what will you do? And Abongwa was forced to apologize and withdraw that ultimatum. And that is when I knew that they were working together. Before that, Chris Anu has written a letter to the cabinet saying that it's time to hand over to Ayuktabe and his people. That we have failed in we have done nothing to advance the cause. So maybe we should hand over back to Ayuktabe and his people. And I immediately told the president that this is a red flag. This is a red flag. You know, our president is a very calm man. He's a very calculative man. He is a pastor, so he didn't take me seriously. At that time, he said, well, I will wait until I see what they are able to do. So Chris Anu had everything to do with along with Atam, like I said last week. Chris Anu he knew about what was going to happen. He knew he was very much in touch of that process, and he landed in Nigeria just around that time to hold a press conference that didn't mean anything. He didn't even talk about the Naira 10. Why did he come? Why did he spend money to fly to Lagos? Why?
That's the question.
So
that's the fundamental question. And then you want to ask yourself again to say, but you guys are doing everything with Barco, purportedly to give leadership to a man in Kondengi that has no power. If there's no evidence again that they want the struggle to end, what evidence do we need again? Barrister Fru, if you have concluded, let me
finish. And then after that, the president did nothing until again Chris Anu, Abongwa, and John Ogawan. You know, at that time the vice president had a right to sign a requisition. They met again to take money from the capital, from the National Treasury, ordered by Abongwa, $135,000, and John Ogawan kept giving some kind of promises to the cabinet. Oh, the vehicle carrying the goods is somewhere between this and that. And I told the president that we are in for trouble. And they included one Alaji. I don't know who Alaji was, and up to now I don't even know who is called Alaji. That is the fake name or the person that Chris Anu was using to siphon $135,000 for the three of them: Abongwa, Chris Anu, John Ogawan. They played us again, such that the money left the treasury without the president's participation. It was signed off by the vice president, and they had an agent in the treasury called what is his name again? The brother of
Richard
this man who is running the DDR. Yes, Richard Tango. And when that requisition came, Richard Tango immediately paid, because they knew what they were doing. I think Chris Anu was right in the center of what happened to the Naira 10, the Naira 10 that I finally represented at the military tribunal in Yaoundé. And Barrister Mbeseha was the legal man of the government at the time. So I think if he has anything to add, but I suspect that with the interview I heard from Ngumba, the man in Texas, I think they call that television station what? I cannot even remember the television station. And the conversation that Chris Anu had with Colonel Mbankwi, and it was played on that interview by Ngumba.
You know, Barrister Fru, for me, this is not a suspicion. For me, these are evidence too many to draw conclusions, because it is now clear that Chris Anu is not an enabler. It's a mistake for people to call him an enabler. Chris Anu
no. It's an agent. Let me finish. It's an agent that was planted inside the interim government long before we knew.
Yes, they are involved with the Cameroon government, because that's why they are plotting sneakily to get it back to Kondengi. They want to hand the people of Ambazonia's leadership into Kondengi. When you see they start gathering the Barco and the others.
Yeah, can I address that? Can I address that? I remember. Let me just one sentence. One sentence. I remember when I was defending Ayuk Tabe and others. I told them that you should not accept any food, any kind of food or drink coming from the prison system here, because we were giving the interim government was giving them enough money to be able to eat, to be able to buy their own food and cook. And if that is happening now, Then I don't know.
I'm not there yet. That's why I told you to wait so I can coordinate the program. That even at that, Cameroon government doesn't need them to take food before he poisons them. By Mbeseha, my concern here is the strategic attempt by Chris and his friends to tell Ambazonians that leadership should be very. Owing to the happenings of everything, I'd like to hear your input, please.
But I might be teaching you. I don't think it's for us to spend 30 minutes discussing Christianity. But so doing,
I'm not hearing you.
So, you're not hearing me?
Your network is not good, please. You want to check that?
Are you getting me now? Are you getting me?
I think it's much better now.
Yes.
I have said that I'll be disappointing you. I say that I don't encourage us spending 20 minutes 30 minutes talking. We are in promoting him. I've said up to this point. I already well documented in audios and video. Why do we need to revisit those things to prove? I'll go forward if out and say something going forward. And that's why I thought I address what this in ABS yesterday. That's what is important. Relationship with bank, not us. Yes, it's all documented there. It was bank said it. He did not refute that story. So it now is not helping us. The most important thing is Chris Anu IG at the time. And according to him, he succeeded because he was made the president of IG. He formed one and was given a mandate of 3 years. His 3 years are over. What has he delivered during the 3 years mandate to replace President Biya, Sako? His record is what you're looking at now. And what was he doing yesterday? That was important to me. Yesterday, if you follow that discussion, what was the discussion? It was about bringing leaders together, common leader struggle. Why would Chris Anu do that? He has no legal status to do that because he has a leadership. He has finished his 3 years, handed over to Dr. Epa. When they talk about bringing leaders, they're not talking about bringing individuals. Zama, Thomas, Elad, Barake, and whoever you talk there, they are talking about leaders. Anu has ceased to be a leader. He's no longer a leader. If they were talks today, and they were to invite, call them, are they going to invite Epa or Chris Anu? They will invite Chris Anu has served his term and is gone. He is the one who put out there, documented it, that they have impeached President Sako, removed him, but he refused to go. And so that's the way we move forward. What was he? He was just trying to make himself important. He invited, I listened to part of that his story, invited angry Sakoans, Dollar, Fus, Sama Tom, to come their anger, their disagreements with Sako. What has that got to do with the leadership of the Ambazonians coming together? I did not see Marianta there arguing. I did not see her arguing. Those are their own leaders. I did not see IGK. So what did Mr. Anu the mandate to bring together? And who gave him that mandate? He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He's just an intruder. He has served his term. He has handed over to somebody else, assuming these responses, which are not his. He's constitutionally in the struggle now. He was an activist. He's not even an official EPA government. And so he has no standing to do what he has today. This President Sako of Wash. That is your opinion. Opinion binds nobody. And President Sako has said it a million times over. You need to start not a lie to you. So, if they know all the things that they can do, why must they spend time about President Sako coming to join them? Why not just win? When they move on, it would be ordered. I will abandon President Sako and support that. And on that, all caution. We have said times over, as far as government is concerned, President Sako, we are not going in that team. Do it alone. Because if they call everybody a leader, Marianne, Akwanga, and or they form the majority, let them go ahead, do what they can do without Sako. So what is this fascination about Sako? Simply because they know that they cannot move on. And so I will not encourage us to spend time here talking about
okay, Mr. Mbeseha, we are facing some difficulties to get your sound. I would like you to, once I give the mic to SOS Zama, you may want to log in and then log again and just make sure that your system is stable and so that your sound will also be stable. But you realize that we do not really have any interest to sit down, contrary to what you are saying, sir, to sit down and talk about Chris Ano. The purpose of bringing the backdrop of the information is so that Ambazonia, who probably are confused of the objective of why he's doing what he's doing, they will understand that he's trying to finish a deal that he started. We don't enjoy talking about him. He knows that he himself is a liability. It's not like we enjoy talking about him. No, we are trying to paint the picture for those who might be confused of the objective of what he's doing, because you have just narrated what he did yesterday. My concern is, what are the objectives behind, what's the spirit behind his actions? And that was the objective of the preamble of this program, to present the reason why he's doing the things he's doing, so people can understand. SOS Zama, please make a comment there so that we can take some reports from the home front and then get into the details of other aspects that has to do with our prisoners of conscience that are facing the risk of slowly being killed in the dungeons of Cameroon.
Mr. Tarh, I just think we are wasting a lot of time on stories that do not have any bearing to this struggle. There's no new facts that's been had regarding whatever has transpired between the arrest of Sisiku and his group of 9 or 10. We have to move on from this mayhem. Whatever the other groups have decided to do and whatever their motivations, that should not disturb this fight against the terrorists in Ambazonia. We are taking our time discussing about them like we are schoolgirls on a playground. We have to stop this. It's worthless, this conversation. These guys are just like they've muddied the water. We have to act like the water beetle to cleanse the water. It's an idea. Whatever they are trying to sell, the Ambazonian people are smart enough to have abandoned them. You could see on their platforms, they have a WhatsApp group. When many groups have 200, 300, 400 people, they have 25, 13, 14, and they are fighting with each other. So anything that they've been trying to sell to the Ambazonian people, they've not been bought. They've asked them to take it home. So we should avoid that. Instead of us talking how we are going to protect our citizens back home from being killed, or we are talking about Chris Ano. He's decided, he's done his part, and the war in Ambazonia is like a Shakespearean drama of 9 or 10 acts with different scenes. There are some minor characters that will be slaughtered. There are some that will be written out of the next scene of the play. We have to move on, sir. Thank you.
That's
Paddy?
amazing. That's amazing. Vice through a moment, please. Vice through a moment, please. A moment, please. Thank you. So this is the deal. As we speak right now, we have seen prisoners are not only dying in La République du Cameroon, we have actually seen that the Cameroon government participate in killing their enemies that they have arrested. They have killed Anicet, Ekane, they have killed Wazizi, and a whole lot that have simply just disappeared in their prisons. We have intelligence that if they cannot use your medical condition to kill you, they themselves are saying that they were aware of Chiruma's medical condition, and so they were hoping that they were going to arrest him and inflict him under very precarious conditions that will lead to his death. We have actually been told that our prisoners of war have been poisoned either by an injection or maybe a food or substance, because even when you buy food in prison, anybody that has been in Konegi, the food is being vetted by them. They're the ones that come to give you, even if you buy it. So there are very high chances that we have our prisoners right now are dying slowly. This is of critical concern. It's a legal issue, and that's what I really want us to focus on before we get to the home front. So, Barrister Pro, please, this is your turn to speak. You can speak and add what you want to say.
Yes, I just want to very, very, very sincerely disagree with Barrister Mbeseha and Mr. Zama. If what you are saying is intelligence, and we don't begin now to link those who were linked to the arrest of the Nera 10 and the way the Nera 10 now are serving a life imprisonment and they are killed in that prison, we will have to bring every actor as a legal team. Those are my clients. I'm interested to see them alive, even though they are sentenced to life. But I'm interested to see them alive, including more especially those who are not all of them are really agents of La République to speak. So we have a duty to protect our own, and to protect our own, we must start talking about those who worked to have them to be in the situation in which they are, and what was the objective, and knowing that they might have been sentenced to death, and if they die by poisoning or by whatever means in that prison, we will have to revisit Chris Anu, Atta Milan, and all those who were involved in this whole thing, including John Bayakoro. I mentioned his name. So for anybody to sit on the ABC Amba TV and say it's irrelevant talking about this, I don't understand it. I don't. I'm sorry. I just have to disagree. Sorry.
Now, I want you to conclude before I take it back to Mbeseha because he's back. I want to find out. It's a legal issue, and we feel that the international community is not talking enough or putting or mounting sufficient pressure enough. Or if they are doing so, then they have to triple or quadruple it. Now that there is evidence that Cameroon is actually strategically, slowly, and killing his political enemies that they have kidnapped and arrested. How do we go about it now to protect these people that are still under their custody in spite of the Abuja ruling that is requesting them to be sent back to Nigeria? Barrister Fru, please speak to that before I get to...
Yes, we must start talking about those that are connected to this whole case of the Nera 10. So that when the time, if it does happen, if, for example, they die in prison, then we have a problem in our hands that our people have been murdered in prison by La République du Cameroon, and we must tie everybody who was connected to their being arrested somehow. So we start talking about it right now, so that even if they have not done it, they will think twice before they do it. For somebody to say that it is relevant at this time, when you are hearing that there's evidence, there is intelligence about killing our people in jail, it should concern us. We should talk about it.
Barrister Mbeseha, What legal measures do you think we can do right now to safeguard the lives of these people? Because it is now clear to all that Cameroon has most probably poisoned them, and they are just in that dungeon dying slowly. And you may think that they'll say that probably they would have died of stress. Please, Vice Mbeseha.
Well, getting back to me, you see, back to the and might disagree with us, but we have the opinion that discussing on day and night is a waste of time. That is our opinion. Like you, that's our opinion. Over to your question. If, in fact, the first rule you go to prison is that you are in the custody of the enemy. The enemy is really a danger to you. So the only legal thing we can do to keep them safe is to tell them to be careful. And I hear, I don't know what it's true, that they cook their own food, do all what they like. They have been there in 2018, almost 8 years ago. The Republic knows that if one of them dies, said Ekane, it will be for them internationally. I think you don't know where the source of that came from. But the only thing your question would do, the only thing is to educate them. Be careful with yourself. There's no way that we're going to engage a law firm to put them in the hands of the enemy. Knows that the death is not a problem nationally and nationally. They're fighting the issue of and so you can tell them all this. When you are there, that you are in the hands of the enemy, it is not because you if that will kill you. But be careful. Don't take nature of food and eat. Drink anything that was the first we gave them. Don't talk to them without. So the only advice we can give them legally is to be self-preservation. Because I don't know what law to prison to supervise yourself, to make sure that no one their bed, to supervise the eat, make sure that not is put in their plate. We don't have that capacity. Even the prison place for the occupied, they administer it. Those from outside have detail to do it. A regular prison, if you have one food there, the prison authority will not let them eat the food until you test the food. Because they fear that you can bring poison and kill the prisoner, and then the blame will be on them. So, in regular, these are the I don't know where they can condemn or nowhere else. Measures are put in prison because the enemy of AOP can walk there with some poison food and give back. So our people were able to take care of themselves. They are all adults. They have been there for quite a long time. And so from day one, day and night, they should be careful with their own lives. That's the only advice.
Mr. Mbeseha, let me say something very quickly. I've been to Kondengi. I know exactly what is happening in Kondengi. Yeah, you can cook food in Kondengi for yourself, especially if you have the means and you have the family that comes with it and give the assistance. But it doesn't stop the authorities. There are two ways they can do it. The same way Cameroon functions out, they function in there. Now, in Kondengi, you have people they call escadrons. Escadrons are mostly these guys that have been abandoned by family, and they have long prison terms. So the escadrons, they help the privileged criminals who have family members. These escadrons are hungry people. They can be used by warders to poison the very food that they are cooking for you, or put food in your. That means the truth is when they bring food for you in Kondengi during the visiting day, your family brings food, they check the food, the person that brings the food tastes the food. But a person that is of a critical interest in Cameroon government, it is not the family member that takes that food to you in your dormitory. That food is given to you by warders. That food can still be poisoned by an escadron or another prisoner sent by the warder. So what we are saying here is, owing to these conditions, this factual information, and the fact that it has now been proven that Cameroon intentionally kills prisoners. They attempted that with Ayapor. If not of the external pressure, Ayapor would have died in prison. What do we do should be a critical situation that we need to handle. And we need to also start talking about those externally that are facilitating Cameroon's mayhem. Now, for you to say that we are talking every day about Chris Arnold is a gross exaggeration, because I seldom do that. Now, SOS Zama, please, I want us to look at what are some of the ways we can do now, because I am intentionally talking this because I know that the world is watching this program. I'm saying this so that the world should be aware that ABC Amba Television informed them that our people in the care of Cameroon have been poisoned. And if nothing is done, nobody should start talking tomorrow. It's very important, SOS Zama. What do we do at this situation? We have people, we have a caller. I want you to make your comment so we can take this call.
I think I'll be very brief with this. We have to back up. We are not dealing with a regime that is a normal regime. It's an authoritarian regime. Authoritarians kill their opponents. They do it all the time. So there's no special way they can kill you. The mere fact that these gentlemen are in prison, they can do whatever they want to do with them. They are at their disposal. We cannot be fretting that they're going to poison them. They are already in confinement. They will do whatever they want to do with these citizens. It's not the first time. If you go back in the days of Ahidjo, people were going to Cherole and they disappeared forever. There are people who have disappeared in Kondengi. Yes, it happens all the time. What we should be doing is not raising the flag and find some validity to that. Because even when they ask, are you, okay, how do you guys, can you give the minutes? Barrister Nsoh said, can you give the minutes of this meeting? Who called the meeting? This gentleman does not even, the star witness does not even want to participate in his own defense. So how can we be sitting here and trying to defend him and try to scream when he cannot help himself? So I think what we should be doing, rather than screaming that they are dying in there, we should be motivating, we should be burning, putting the fire under the butts of all Cameroonians and citizens of Ambazonia to fight this monstrous system. Because they in there cannot do it. We are sitting here just crying, oh, they are being poisoned. They will die eventually because they use psychological torture, physical torture, and all those stuff. And just the mere fact that they're separated from their families, a lot of them might die because of sicknesses. And sometimes we don't have no biopsy to say, okay, this person has been poisoned. People die, yes. Even in America, people die in jail all the time. And sometimes they die by their own volition. Sometimes they are killed. Sometimes they die naturally. But how do you distinguish all that? We don't have no pathology report that has validated any of the killings, any of the deaths in prison in Cameroon. We are just saying it. We are just assuming it. And I don't think that's proper. I know it's a horrible regime, but let's start dealing with some facts. And let's put our citizens in both La Republique and Ambazonia to fight this system. That's the only weapon that we have. The Europeans and all these people we are calling, we want them to do. That's not their business, to be honest. That's not their business.
The point about it is that this is more than an assumption and an insinuation. Number one, Wazizi was beaten and disappeared and killed. Number two, we have seen we have seen reported that they choose not to administer, because when you have a prisoner, you have to administer medical condition. They are malnourished, which is also a form of killing somebody. So I agree with you that we need to fight, and we need to continue fighting because it is an authoritarian regime. I want to take this brief comment so we can take some reports on the ground and then make progress with this discussion. Yes, caller, please go ahead.
Yes, Director, can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead, please.
Yes, I want to support Barrister Johnson in relation to what he said about Chris Arnold. This is the time we even need to talk more and more about Chris Arnold, because Chris Arnold is in the final phase of his assignment. The first phase, ANU came, connived with La Republic du Cameroon people, adopted our leaders, took them to Nigeria. The second phase was to make sure to bring down the momentum we had in 2021 by staging the coup. After ANU staged the coup, we lost a lot of fighters, and it is after ANU claimed to have taken over the government, that is when La Republique du Cameroon said, okay, we are no longer for the Swiss. They went in Canada and met in Canada. Remember, ANU had promised that they were going to go all over the world to inform Ambazonians about what they did in Canada. It is just nothing. And then today, the ANU final assignment is to do what people are talking about. People say we are divided. We are divided. He is coming in like a reconciliator, like someone who wants to bring people together. Someone who is trying to do something that is going to bring momentum to the struggle, whereas he has already sold out. So if we cannot remind our people that how can someone who sold our leaders, someone who brought the food plotters, they also stole money from the national treasury, ANU has destroyed almost everything that we built here, including stealing the ABC console. Then today, he is claiming some righteousness that, oh, I want to tell that people want to. Remember, ANU told me personally that we should take federation and we will fight La Republic after 20 years. That is what Christopher ANU told me. So, someone who is the inside Jerusalem and the rest talking with La Republic agents one-on-one, he even told us that he met a Mbeseha in Somaliland when he tried to trick Dr. Zama to go there. If today we don't expose, we don't tell our people what exactly ANU has been doing. He has not even repented from the CDC lies. He did not bring the firepower. He did not bring the hurricane. He did not do anything. Then he is out to convince our people to soon and then painting our president, painting our government. So this is the time we need to see the contribution of ANU towards the destruction of whatever things the Southern Cameroon people have been building for quite a long time. So thank you.
Yeah, I think I cannot agree any less because he is playing what you call reverse psychology, trying to act like the mediator for unity, whereas he is actually portraying that the struggle is not moving forward because of his so-called failure in his government and unity. And he is manipulating and distracting people from the discussion. It's important that we bring this to the limelight so that our people are not manipulated through falsehood. We're going to take a few reports. When we come back, we will look at...
Before you do that, one last point.
Briefly.
You are basing the poisoning only on food. And instead Ekane was not killed with food. They withdrew his treatment.
Yeah.
Look, when that thing happened to Anicet, I thought of the Nera 10, who are my clients, my former clients. I thought of the age of Paddy and Paddy is constantly on medication. If the regime decides to cease the medication, and he's not the only, there are others that will have health problems. If they stop you from getting treatment, is that not something to raise an alarm? Because it can happen to any of them, including those in central prison.
Yep.
La Republic is out to eliminate those that are directly their enemies. I am thinking about those that are in prison that are staying the course in this revolution. If we lose one of them because they have withheld medication, because they have withheld food from coming in, because they poison him using food, and we cannot talk about how the foundation of their being in prison, so that the regime in Yaoundé should hear us on this television that we are saying that You are preparing to kill our people in prison. That is enough to talk about it. Because if any of our prisoners dies in prison, we will suspect La Republique du Cameroon immediately. But if we don't talk about it openly as we're doing, what recourse do we have? You are thinking that, oh, Ayuk Tabe, for all you can die there. No. He's a political prisoner from Ambazonia. He may be a black leg. He may be a black leg. He may be an agent. He might have been trying to destroy. He was trying to destroy the revolution from prison. That I know. But is that a reason for us to allow him to be killed in prison, or to allow any of those 9, or any of the 37, or any of those in the central prison to be killed? We talk like this so that La Republique know that we are already aware of their modus operandi. There are certain things that you talk not to clarify people.
Yes, Mr. Pro, we're going to be back. Let's take some reports in the newsroom, please.
Well, in Ambazonia, we know that for over 8 years, 8 long years, the Ambazonian population has endured displacement, terror, and hardship, a human catastrophe that has proven to be a direct result of the colonial government's refusal to address grievances, protect civilians, or pursue genuine peace. This brutal fratricidal war pitting Ambazonia's defense fighters against the French Cameroon's military has thrown the lives of ordinary civilians into a vortex of trauma, disappearances, and daily fear, all unfolding under what many describe as the silent, indifferent gaze of the international community. The war, marked by heavy-handed colonial military operations and escalating confrontations with the Ambazonian State Army, has seen all 3 zones of the country continue to deteriorate. We see that all that is left behind is a shadowy record of intimidation, displacement, and lingering trauma. Residents testify that the war is being fought as much in their homes and streets as on any declared battlefield. Civilians in the affected areas describe a reality marked by arbitrary arrests, unexplained disappearances, and recurring clashes between French Cameroon and the French Cameroon government forces and the defense fighters of Ambazonia. With each new incident, trust erodes further and the population finds itself navigating an increasingly unpredictable landscape. Local community leaders argue that while the colonial military advance their own narrative of legitimacy amidst the war, the greatest burden is carried by the people who never picked up a weapon. Well, markets shut down without warning, entire villages empty overnight, and parents keep their children home from school out of fear of what the next day might bring. As a result, a generation has grown up knowing nothing about the term stability, but disruption and insecurity. Now, what alarms observers most is the global silence surrounding the war. Human rights organizations periodically issue reports, but major international actors have taken limited concrete action. Analysts say that geopolitical interests, economic ties, and diplomatic caution have largely overshadowed the urgent humanitarian dimensions of the war. The international community reacts loudly to conflict elsewhere, say a civil society advocate in Biya. But here in Ambazonia, it has chosen a posture of distance, and that distance is causing lives and opportunities and the future of an entire region. Yet peace remains distant. Unfortunately, former negotiations have stalled repeatedly, and mistrust between parties grow with every new incident. Analysts argue that without stronger international engagement, pressure for accountability, and meaningful dialogue, the war risks becoming a permanent scar on the nation. We also see that it is sad that a growing number of young people from the war-hit Ambazonia are increasingly turning to transactional relationships for financial survival. Many social analysts blame the French Cameroon's government's prolonged mishandling of the war to be a fueling factor of this wave of desperation. A new social trend is gaining visibility across Ambazonia, the rapid rise of what people term sugar baby culture, where young men and women engage in relationships with significantly older people, wealthier partners, in exchange for financial or material support. While the phenomenon isn't new, its sharp escalation has sparked debate about the deeper socio-economic pressures driving it. In the Savannah, Midland, and Atlantic zones of the nation of Ambazonia, many residents argue that the war has played a decisive role. 9 years of unrest have disrupted livelihoods, closed businesses, displaced families, and left thousands of youths without stable jobs. While with job opportunities shrinking and cost of living increasing, some young people are now turning to transactional relationships as a survival strategy, even if reluctantly. In Bamenda, a sociologist stated that the event was not just a moral decline, but an economic despair when a young woman has not been able to attend school for years, cannot find a job, and lives in an area where normal life has collapsed. She will consider options she would never have imagined before the war, he stated.
Safety message. This is Dr. Martin Mangwa, Commission Secretary of State for Communications and Diplomacy. Fellow Ambazonians, the government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia issues this urgent safety warning. Reports from November 22nd, 2025 confirm that French Cameroon security forces stopped buses along the Bamenda-Yaoundé highway, singled out Ambazonian-looking passengers for ID checks, and allowed French Cameroon buses to pass without inspection. This is clear discriminatory treatment, and the government is advising all Ambazonians as follows. If you must travel into French Cameroon, stay alert. Carry proper identification. Inform your family of your movement. Avoid unnecessary checkpoint exposure. Report any harassment to trusted contacts. French Cameroon may speak English for cameras, but on the road their actions continue to show unequal and targeted treatment of Ambazonians. Ambazonians, move carefully. Your safety remains our priority. This is the voice of Ambazonia International, a production of ABC Networks 24 Radio and Television. Truth in resistance, clarity in crisis.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back. We really did not get those reports the way I would have wanted, but I'm very sure that they have given to us some clarity on some of the things that are happening on the ground. I want us to come now because it's important for us to look into that as we're closing the year right there. You look at it right now, you're going to see what is happening to the people on the ground. The purpose of news is, first of all, for us to get ourselves informed and also to inform the world of what is happening on the ground. I begin with you. There's a report there that I wanted to bring from Gokitunja. I don't know why I've not been able to have that report. I'll look forward to seeing that I could have that report. But this is a situation very critical on the ground, the misery of the people, how Cameroon is still sneaking on the ground. They're not just doing it in the prison. They're killing the people right on the ground right now. And we would think that a platform should be talking about it. But the platform wants to distract people by talking about how that the president is a liability. Now, when you look at this situation that's happening on the ground, I begin with you, Barrister Fru. I don't know, Barrister Mbeseha, is your network okay now? Do you want to sit a little bit straight so that we can see you well? I'm finding difficulties to frame you on the screen. Just try to sit in the middle of your camera, please. Yeah, Barrister Fru, we have a very dangerous situation on the ground. Do you want to talk to us on that before Barrister Mbeseha
Yes,
comes
Paddy. Paddy, the victims of this war are mostly our young people, our children, our young people and women. I saw a video of a crossfire fight in Bamenda where school children went under their benches. They were all lying on the ground. And you see the war on the children is a big setback for Ambazonian children and Ambazonian future generation, because La Republique takes upon itself to go into a crossfire fight inside the city where the population is, where the children are in school, when I saw that video, I cried. And this is exactly what is happening. You see, young girls who have been displaced by this war find themselves in Douala and Yaoundé, in Bafoussam, prostituting. Children who did not know anything about adult activity enter adult activity early because of this war. And they end up no school, no education, and nothing. This is our plight. And the world is silent on what is going on in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, orchestrated by La République du Cameroon forces of occupation. And this, we have to talk about all this by ourselves. The question is, what do we do at this stage to salvage the children and the young people who are the first victims of this war? What do we do? We will fight and fight and fight, and what else is there that we can do psychologically, physically, and even to have children stay in school is getting more and more difficult, even in Bamenda town. Because bullets are flying all over the place and children are diving under benches, some are hiding under trenches. I saw women hiding under trenches. It is unbearable. Paddy, I don't know whether we have answers to that, but that is a fact.
Well, that's a major concern right there, Barrister Fru. But you realize that as far as making a determination that the children have to go to school, the government has its stance. It's a very dangerous situation where women, children, and youths remain the victims of the war. And it is not just the impact of the war, it's the fact that Cameroon is not just randomly targeting them, they are strategically targeting them and trying to turn them against the movement by making them enemies. Sometimes they plot people they call Amber Boys, which we know they are Tamanji boys and bandits, to create mayhem to these people so that they can turn against us. So it's a complex situation that we have to navigate with caution. And this platform remains the major platform where we can determine the narratives that is being consumed at the home front. Barrister Mbeseha, please.
Well, people in war will find that our struggle has moved from guerrilla that oppresses to the cities. What's happening in Bamenda town, Bafoot and Bambui is urban warfare. Is that thing we did not recommend? But it's a special way that we see moves in the bushes to confront enemy. There. That was an occupation of towns, the towns. If our people move to towns and them there, that is urban guerrilla warfare. What we can only advise our people to be very careful. Going on there, in particular, on other places, is generalized insecurity. It is purely generalized. It is coming from the control. So people who are very careful with their own lives, that's the first thing they have to do. And then, what happens to those children? Yes, children around getting pregnant on news because of war. That is a consequence of war. A good number of those children have moved from their villages to towns. They don't have nobody to care for them. They need to survive. And so they do all these things. What can we do? The only thing we can do is to caution them. You have to be careful with your own life. In addition to that, you can get infected. Things that occur. Then back again to the guerrilla warfare and the urban guerrilla warfare. In Bamenda, see a military tank strolling down the streets. They are not really there to do anything. They are protecting themselves because they don't even know where the enemy might just be sitting in a boat house with his small weapon to come out and strike. So they themselves are so frightened. I happened to have said this 2 days ago, yesterday. If the military tank rolling down the street in Bamenda, see so smoking or snuffing, he would think that you have blown out some gas. They will shoot you. And so it just calls for us to be very, very careful. There are people who are the victims, say in the urban areas where it is like in Bamenda, they have to take extra precaution for their own lives. Trade can kill you. War promoters can adopt you to make money out of you. And this is what is going on there. So what should we do? Again, let us only advise our people to be careful. If those children going around becoming parents, it is not worth pain. Child or that just to survive because of war. It is immoral, dangerous, and so on and so forth. For the schools, we don't have power over this. We've said as a policy, if you find this slave, say it if you wish, but it is responsible for their security. And it is in those areas, advise stay home. Because a dead child cannot, a child to school can go to that school down the road. And so that's what we can do. We cannot, if I come to the city, they are moved from the bush city, that's a credit for us. They will confront me down. No government in the world has ever won urban guerrilla warfare. It's a stepping stone to our victory.
Yeah, it's a very complex thing, but Barrister Fru and yourself have asked some questions indirectly, which I think the best person to answer these questions is here with us. What do we do at this time? We are faced with a dangerous war where, in an attempt to defend ourselves, civilians could just be the collateral damage, either directly or indirectly. Cameroon uses civilians as their shield, uses civilians for manipulation. They manipulate them to use them as shield, so they bring them in front of our faces as we defend them. The same people you're defending, they put them in front of your face. Or they create mayhem for them so that the people get fatigued and they get tired of the movement. It's just a strategy of war that Cameroon is employing. But no matter what strategy is being employed here, we will definitely continuously have the women, the children and the youths as the critical victims of this war. The question that goes to you, Commander Zama, is what do we do from a war perspective at this time?
I think we have to understand that we are at war. In war, most of the time, 80% of those who die at war, it's basically civilians. It's not military people. And we have to understand that we cannot keep crying about the war going on. We've known for 8 years that this war is going on, but our citizens are not participating at the full breadth of their ability to stop this carnage. The citizens of Ambazonia, they are all over the world. They are in Ambazonia. There are those who think, oh, that thing still there. When they give people humbug. That's the understanding that some of them have. But the effect is percolating all around them. Our kids are suffering, yes. Our mothers are suffering. They are being raped. They are being killed. They just killed a lot of kids in Foya, in Bafut, about 10 of them yesterday. And it's not that they were participants. I tell people, you don't want to fight, they will kill you. I tell people, you better die with an arm in your hand trying to defend yourself than to be slaughtered like a chicken. We have to be able to galvanize our citizens to contribute into this fight. We can make all the speeches here as we want. But so far as these young men who are willing to sacrifice, to throw themselves against bullets to hit that's about to hurt our families, we cannot provide them with the ammunition. We cannot provide them with the equipment that they need to defend the community. We will be at this for a long time. We will have to suffer the effects until it dawns on everybody that every household in Ambazonia needs to have a defender. It needs to have a gun. It needs to have a bullet to be able to do that. And we can afford that. We can do it. A majority of people have just decided they don't want to do it. But they sit and cry about the effects of this war. We can stop this war if we want. If we go up as a whole person. We cannot push a bus. A single person cannot push a bus uphill in a muddy road in Cameroon. It has to be the whole passenger set. It has to be the whole tribe to push up that bus. This war is something that we all have to put all hands on deck to do that. We have to look at it in that perspective. It's not, oh, my group, is it Anu's group, is it President Sako's group? We are all being treated the same. And we have to fight this fight as one unit. Be it on your own side. Start fighting. We have a very long border with La République. Take any part of it and defend it. Take any part of it and fight for it. And we should stop all this feeling, war is bad. It's horrible. When there's a breakdown in law and order, these things happen. But how do we fix it if we don't want to even contribute and fight for it? If we cannot fight the enemy, they're just going to climb on us and do whatever they want.
Yeah, the resolve goes thus: we have to do something. We have to take action, and the time for action is now. No better time than now. And we also have to enhance this platform. I keep asking people, have you thought for 1 minute? If you look at the noise that's out there, if we don't come with the education that you have, the barristers are giving here, like Barrister Fruit said earlier on, that's important for us to make the world know that we're already aware of what they're doing. And also it's good because this will serve as evidence that they were told nobody should come to road. You remember what happened in Rwanda? They said never again. They were told that this is happening to our prisoners of conscience. This is happening to the youths in Ambazonia right now. They don't have jobs. They can't even school freely. They can barely survive. And somebody has got to do something. It starts with us. It starts with this TV that is talking to the world. This is the voice of the people talking to the world. I want us to get to the conclusion of this part, which is there's a program between ABC Amba Television and health and social services and women combined. Be an angel campaign. I'm sure you would have seen Dr. Patience has shared some things out there. It's about making sure that we are ending the year strong. We are putting a smile to some of the faces of the victims, like the refugees. And we are footing the beams of this to keep this television alive. If you're a patron, you're a club member, and you have not made your donation, you have to go ahead. You have to do an extra at the end of the year so that we get this thing going. It has to keep going. It can't stop now. You just heard Commander Zama there. Please, Bisafu, let's take it the round so that we can conclude on that note.
Yes, but yeah, before I get to that, let me say this. We are not the first to have this kind of war. It's just that the world has decided to turn its eyes on us. They would have created safe zones. UNICEF would have created safe zones for children to be able to go to school without having to suffer the pangs of the effects of this war. And it is also disingenuous for anybody member of government of this revolution, the government of the Southern Cameroons in exile, blame the population on the ground for any reason whatsoever. Our people on the ground are paying the price already. They may say that one thing, and how many people say that? What I know is that generally our people support this revolution, and they are taking the brunt. That is why every Monday they stay home to respect the real country Sunday. And this is because they support this revolution. And when we hear things on this network saying that the population is doing nothing, you can sit there and do nothing. You have to know that the war had existed. Yes, they know that there's a war. But we have to, as a government, continue to strike and make sure that we get to the UNICEF, we get to the people that matter, to create safe zones for children to be safe, to create whatever the international community does in a war zone for our people to survive in. Our people have taken it for 9 years, and that's a credit that we must give our population. We cannot chantise our population on this network. They are the people that are taking the brunt while we sit here in the diaspora and talk. Having said that, Paddy, it is that one of the things that the Commission for Health and Social Services, led by Dr. Patience is doing is to collect whatever funds to collect from us and to be able to help not only the refugees in Nigeria, but also the IDPs and all the orphans that have been created as a result of this war. So we have a duty, a moral duty, to contribute to that fund. And as soon as I leave from this network, I'm going to do my own contribution. Because whatever we do here, stay here and talk, we are protected here, but our people are exposed to the effects of this war, and we must understand that we cannot chastise them for not contributing to the war. They are already contributing more than we think. What I think issues is those in the diaspora who don't care about what is happening on the ground, and there are many of them. That is where I agree. But about our people on the home front, I would put the figure at 80 to 90% of support to this revolution, support to this interim, to this government led by Dr. Sako, that does not only takes care of self-defense, it also takes care of refugees, it takes care of IDPs, it takes care of prisoners of conscience, it takes care of widows on the ground. When a soldier of this government dies, the responsibility for bearing falls on the government. Have we ever thought about that? And this is the thing that we must think about when we talk about our people who are facing the brunt of this war. So let's contribute to Dr. Abiado's call. Let's do what we have to do to make sure that we make resources available for them to be able to take care of the refugees in Nigeria and other places, the IDPs in Douala and Yaoundé, the orphans that the people that are being created because of this war. And to finish, Paddy, there is a woman in my Tunkwen who lost the only son in university, her only child, who was in the University of Bamenda, who was taken out by La Republic soldiers, turn around and go to the back of the building, the back of their house, and shot to death. Those are the things. Those are the things that are going on the ground that we need to talk about so that the world can listen to us.
And the truth is, if we don't talk about it, one of the ways that the world is knowing is when we talk about it, we're internationalizing the struggle. I think that UNICEF and all those criminal organizations, Barrister Fro, cannot participate the way they should right now is because it will be legitimizing our claim. Cameroon is denying that there's no war, that there's no mercy. So if UNICEF comes now, which is being manipulated by them, it will simply just facilitate it. So it's a quagmire that is really an unfortunate thing. Before I go to Barrister Mbeseha, I also want to reiterate, we didn't speak about that. It is with the inclusion of this network, you need to support this network today. Take note, the management of this TV for the past 4 years has been, you can appreciate it yourself. We have never come crying to you in public. But we are facing the same challenges that the TV has always faced. The difference now is that the management is more mature. And so we don't come every day in public crying to the people of Ambazonia. You can't just sit and assume that somebody else is doing it. You must ask yourself, what are you doing? And I'm asking you that's watching us right now. You've got to do something right now. So before I give the mic to Barrister Mbeseha, we have a caller, Dr. Patience is here to probably buttress on the point or to make a contribution. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, please.
Yes, let me start with guest, Barrister Pro, Barrister Biya, and Mr. Zama for the great information they've been saying so far. I just want to talk again the day after Giving Tuesday. In the United States of America, they have a day called Giving Tuesday, or this past December 2nd. And if you're on it, you get a lot of solicitation to give money for different causes. Well, it is true that we are not able to reach all our war victims, comprising refugees, some of them will benefit from the kindness of your heart. We've been so busy with drafting in the past few months. So this December, there's really no draft. So it's a time for you to dig down and give something to someone else. Inundated with personal problems, but then let's think about how we are so lucky to be alive. Let's think about the fact that we are blessed than more other people. And in fact, you may not be as good as somebody else, but you are better than most people. If you think about that you may not be as good as somebody else, but you are better than most people, that should evoke from you some sort of willingness to give. And we have this formula right now that may make everybody give something. That if you just give $100, a minimum of $100, and then reach out to some other person, maybe some friends, some family members, some colleagues from your job or church, and ask them to give $25 here, $50 there, you may be able to get at least $200 from your effort and from yourself for this cause, so that we can at least get $20,000 for this Christmas drive. So I'm just appealing to all of you listening to make sure that you dig down and give something, and reach out to others also who may not know about this, so that they can do the same. We want to benefit ABC. ABC is doing a fantastic job every day to educate us, because education is the key. We listen to information from Dr. Mungwa that is getting to the international community, and that's how our plight is kept alive. If ABC network drowns, we drown. So we want to do something for ABC, and that's my appeal to everyone today. Thank you so much for listening, and let's go ahead and dig in our pockets. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much, Dr. Patience. Mr. Mbeseha, please.
Well, I think Dr. Patience has said everything I wanted to say. I can only say two words. Nothing is too small to put a smile on the face of a little boy at Christmas. Christmas is a universal day of happiness. Let us chip in something. That said, let me just refer something back. I don't think, but Zama said that everybody is doing nothing. Yes, people at home are bearing the brunt. That is a fact. But also a fact that some of the horrors that we suffer, some people at home are contributing to it, unknowingly or unknowingly. It is not new. We all remember Efang. Efang was in somewhere in Momo there. He had a large troop of people who caused all havoc. They kidnapped people. But they lived amongst people. They lived amongst our brothers and sisters. And so it is happening in environment, kidnapping. And that is not possible. That some of our sisters, mothers, and fathers, no children who are just kidnapped. Maybe they benefit from what Mr. Zama was saying. This who know this is causing harm on should better stop it. He wants to be kidnapped. One struggle to be ruined, to be dead with manifest illegalities. That's what Mr. Zama is saying. And so we belong at home more. They are sitting on the forefront. Of us contribute, but we don't contribute finance. Back home, we cannot pretend everybody out of our struggle. Where we will not be things that we have. So our appeal is that if we have fathers and mothers, brothers, who are the criminal elements, who adopt people, kidnap people, they should stop. That will reduce them somehow. Because sometimes they take it after that. Looking for kidnappers. They are looking for amber boys who don't even exist. And then they use the opportunity to fire guns around them. Whereas anybody. So that's why you might. That's what I think.
That's amazing. Zama, please.
Well, I don't know what to say. Perhaps my fellow presenter, Barrister Nsoh, may think I'm berating our people back home. That's far from it. I just want to say that nobody is going to do this but us. We are asking for UNICEF and all these people to come and defend our people and put a corridor. I want to tell you news. The UN peace mission have been in the Middle East since 1948. They've been on Angolan Heights in 1949. They've been in Congo since 1960. They've been in Syria, it's Kosovo. They're still killing people there. Until the people make it their decision that I'm taking my own responsibility to do what we must do. This carnage goes on. We are glad the war in Congo, the peace treaty has been signed for that. That's good news. I hope it stays that way. But as I say, our people must be fully engaged. We have a lot of people who are doing it, yes, but our people must be much more engaged. because who wants to go cry to a cry die, and the person who is coming to visit is crying more than the person who has suffered the bereavement? We have to do our part. And today we'll be collecting gifts for our citizens in Ambazonia, in Nigeria, and in other displaced people of our origins in Ambazonia. And please contribute whatever you have. It doesn't take a lot. There are some of us who buy coffee in the United States every day. That's $2. Multiply that by 30. That's just $60. You can count $60 and give, or give more. It's just little things that we can change in our daily lives that will fund this war. We are not asking you to give your mortgage. We are not asking you to give up your car payment. We are asking you to give something that you can get disposed of. And it happens on a daily basis. We can get any of those little amounts and put it away. And that's what I'm asking for. If we can show that gusto in ourselves, then this war will be over within the next 3 or 4 years. We are in year 9 coming up very soon. We have 3 more years or 4 more years. Most average wars of independence are 13 years. So we are going to that average year of 13 to fight this war. I hope it could end tomorrow, but it cannot end with us just wishing it to end. It cannot end with us just sitting and praying every day that we are praying for. This is a man problem. This is a human problem. We have to fight the war to resolve it. God doesn't do this for us. We must do it for ourselves.
That's amazing. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. Just to reiterate, Merry Christmas in advance. We're starting some very special Christmas programming with ABC from Monday, right up to we're beaming on the ground, right up to the president's address or speech on the 31st night. So much is left for us to put together to make sure that all of these events are properly coordinated and streamed via ABC Amba TV. The logistics are required. We want to already thank those who have started sending in their support and their donations to this initiative. And we're calling on you, members of government, most especially, and every Ambazonian that is yet to do so, to start off and to start like right now. It's been an amazing time. We thought that it was necessary to bring the clarity and to point out the objective of these actors of evil, Cameroon proxies in the diaspora, some in suits, trying to portray the image of the leadership of this struggle in a very negative way. We also thought it was necessary to shout it on top of the hills of the mountain that our people are facing a very critical danger in the dungeons of French Cameroon. It is now clear in white and black on every screen with evidence that Cameroon kills prisoners in their keeping in many different ways. They can poison your food. They have done so. They can beat you to death like they did with Wazizi and many other Ambazonians that have disappeared. They can inject poison in you, which is something we are told that has been done to some of the Nera 10 or all of them, and most of those who are advocating for the Ambazonian movement, even some who were released, might have been released with illnesses that will slowly just kill them. It is now clear that they will deny for any medical attention to those who are faced with critical conditions. So our people are faced with the risk. Do you want them to die in prison? If we allow all of them to die in prison, history will never forgive us. So what do? We'll have to talk about it on ABC so that the world is aware. We have to continuously seek for help, and we have to escalate our ground game. I just saw some people are saying that we need to enhance, furnish the Ambazonian State Army, inspire them more. All they need from you is just a plate of food. And like I said last week to those at the home front, for those of you who have farms, you could just give them a bunch of plantain. That will go a long way. You can give something. It is the attitude of the people of the Southern Cameroons to share even from their beat. I grew up in Bamenda, where you can be living in a house and you're owing the rent and you're being fed by your landlord. That's how wonderful we, the people of Bamenda and the people of Southern Cameroon, are. It is our culture and our nature to share at various times. So we need to take this Christmas season important enough to understand that it is not just a season for us to cry or sit on our lorries to cry on what Cameroon is doing, but a time for us to participate. And our participation will be our donation and our generosity. I would like to leave you with this important message. Listen to the English of one of our presidents. I call him our prime minister. That is John Gov't, the way he expressed himself with a lot of superiority complex. And then you see the Waju Ahijo that was standing beside him with a lot of inferiority complex. And then people call him an illiterate. I don't believe it. These were people who represented us. And when Cameroon saw the height of this intellect, they thought that the least they could do was to destroy our educational system. But they failed because they scattered us all around the world. And we went all around the world, acquire huge intelligence. And today we are hitting them big. Our level of understanding our own story, nobody will tell the story for us. And that's why you must not allow ABC to exist. You must give to ABC, in spite of what people are claiming. Nobody in the Cameroons, nowhere in the Cameroons is what ABC is being done now that is being done. If there's nobody that can do it like we do it, and we are proud of that. We are also proud of you for making sure that we continue to do it. But you have to keep doing it. You can't stop today. You have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and only duplicating your efforts. Until the day we are in Biya, you cannot stop doing it for no reason. Goodbye until next time. It's been Paddy King.
Nigeria, population 1.5 million. The problem? 1960 has been set for the date when the French Cameroons becomes an independent country. This has been settled and agreed upon. But in the British Cameroons, the issue is not so clear. This territory has been administered in conjunction with Nigeria, which itself is to become independent next year. The northern part of the British Cameroons wants to join with Nigeria. In the southern sector, opinion sharply divided. One group wants to join the French Cameroons, the other, Nigeria. In this conference room this morning are representatives of both points of view. One of them is Prime Minister Ahmed Ahidjo of the French Cameroons. He has brought his interpreter with him this morning. I'm going to ask the question and the interpreter will in turn ask Dr. Ahidjo. Would you give us your view on the problem which is currently before the General Assembly, sir?
Est-ce que, Monsieur le Président, vous voudriez leur donner votre point de vue au sujet du problème qui, à l'heure actuelle, est débattu par l'Assemblée générale?
Actuellement, il est question des deux Cameroun, sous tutelle française et britannique. Bien entendu, je suis les deux questions avec une grande attention, mais l'on comprendra que j'attache l'importance primordiale à la question du Cameroun français. Des résolutions sont déposées sur le bureau de la 4e commission et la commission déposée par les États-Unis, Haïti, l'Italie et d'autres nations ont reçu notre adhésion. Et j'ai l'espoir que cette résolution sera votée par la 4e commission et par l'Assemblée générale.
The Prime Minister says that, of course, he is here to follow the debate on both the French and British Cameroons, but it is understandable that he's more interested in the fate of the French Cameroons, of which he is the Prime Minister, and he says that various resolutions have been submitted to the 4th Committee, and he hopes that the resolution submitted by 5 nations, including the United States and Italy and Haiti, New Zealand, will receive the majority vote in the fourth committee.
Thank you very much, sir. Another very important voice to be heard from is Prime Minister J.N. Foncha of the British Cameroons. How do you feel about this situation, sir?
I wish to thank the members of the United Nations television branch for having given me this opportunity to express my impression of the United Nations General Assembly convened purposely to hear Cameroon's future. Before I leave for the southern Cameroons, I wish to express my deepest appreciation for the kind and friendly dispositions of everyone I have met at the United Nations. This opportunity has given me to thank them all, not only for myself but also for my honorable colleagues. The friendly atmosphere which characterizes the day-to-day business of the United Nations is in itself a contributing factor to the solution of the problems confronting the countries of the world. The solution of the difficulties delaying the progress of independence to the Cameroons as a whole has made good progress in view of the fact that the distinguished representatives are understanding what we want. The consideration to postpone some of the points presenting difficulty is a move in the right direction in view of the fact that before the 14th session assembles, more important information will be available. The course of the debate so far is encouraging because it is aiming to a kind of independence which will pave the way to the unity of Cameroon as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both, gentlemen.
Normally this program has closed, but I thought that this bonus, let me talk again. I want you to look at two things. We're going to create a special show to have a debate on this, I think before Christmas, so that we can enlighten our people. But I want you to look at two presidents. They were recognized as two heads of states. Now, even Ahidjo knew that it was illegal for him to talk about the Southern Cameroons. He said something. He said he's more interested in the independence of his country. He said so. For those who didn't hear the French part of it, it was interpreted in English. The independence. The word, I have said it billions of times, referring to the people of Southern Cameroons, Anglophones, with so much insistence, is very criminal. Because the word Southern Cameroons, the word Anglophone was made popular after 1972. I think in 1976. That is when the word Anglophone was made popular. And it was strategically done by this same Ahidjo. Leading to Foncha. And you said that man was not educated. How many of, just to prove that they destroyed our education, do you hear the English that Foncha was speaking more than 65 years ago? The substance of, he came prepared. He's a short man, but had a lot of presence. You saw Ahidjo was jittering. What did he say? The expression, he called it the Cameroons. He called it unity. He didn't say reunification. So Cameroon did a lot of things to call it reunification. No, the Cameroons. Even Ahidjo also called it the Cameroons. Ahidjo respected it and called it British Cameroon. So those were two entities. And the fight today is, we're asking a question, what is the legal processes, or what are the legal processes that led to the dissolution of the identity of the Southern Cameroons? Let's have that conversation. And that's why Cameroon has decided that they would rather just kill every person, because they don't want to have this conversation. They know that it's a gray area. It's a fraud. So it is logical for us to say that the involvement, what was supposed to be a unification, ended up to become an occupation that we are protesting. We are not just, we have resisted it, and we are restoring our identity as an entity recognized under international law. These are some of the evidence that cannot be erased in the landmark of history. It's a bonus part of this program. And like I said, ABC is the platform for the rightful education. This is classic. I've watched this video this week at least 10 times. There are times I just watch Funcha and I pause it and I sit and I listen and I play a repeat. It's so sweet that after we have been so enlightened and emancipated since 2016, you have such evidence to watch. It's important. I'm going to play it again, but this time I'm not going to come back. But I'll play it again so that you can watch it again. Watch it closely now after my comment and listen to every word that came out of the mouth of John Funcha. For those who are so ignorant and who are saying that we are fighting aimlessly, no. The Ambazonian liberation movement is legal, is historical. And that's why no court in the world, not even the United States of America, has the authority to contest this. No, nowhere in the world. I told people, a lady was interviewing me. I said, those that have been arrested have not been arrested because they are fighting the Ambazonian liberation movement. They have been arrested for crimes against humanity. Yes. The Ambazonian movement is not a terrorist movement. It's a legitimate legal movement. We're fighting against historic injustice. It's in history. We have it written. We have videos. We have promises of Amadou Ahidjo that were not respected. He categorically said that they were going to respect our institutions. But the very same day, he brought gendarmes that undermined the mobile wing police. The very same day he landed in Tico, he started by undermining our mobile wing police on that same day. And strategically destroying it. So, this is history. You can't hide it. No, you can't hide it. Guys, go have a good night. I have to go now. Enjoy a weekend. Please, like I said, make sure ABC stays alive. You can do it. Keep doing it. Congratulations.
Cameroons, also in Western Africa, attached to Nigeria. Population, 1.5 million. The problem? 1960 has been set for the date when the French Cameroons becomes an independent country. This has been settled and agreed upon. But in the British Cameroons, the issue is not so clear. This territory has been administered in conjunction with Nigeria, which itself is to become independent next year. The northern part of the British Cameroons wants to join with Nigeria. In the southern sector, opinion sharply divided. One group wants to join the French Cameroons, the other, Nigeria. In this conference room this morning are representatives of both points of view. One of them is Prime Minister Ahidjo of the French Cameroons. He has brought his interpreter with him this morning. I'm going to ask the question and the interpreter will in turn ask Dr. Ahidjo. Would you give us your view on the problem which is currently before the General Assembly, sir?
Est-ce que, Monsieur le Président, vous voudriez leur donner votre point de vue au sujet du problème qui, à l'heure actuelle, est débattu par l'Assemblée générale?
Actuellement, il est question des deux Cameroun, sous tutelle française et britannique. Bien entendu, Je suis les deux questions avec une grande attention, mais l'on comprendra que j'attache l'importance primordiale à la question du Cameroun français. Des résolutions sont déposées sur le bureau de la 4e commission et la commission déposée par les États-Unis, Haïti, l'Italie et d'autres nations ont reçu notre adhésion. Et j'ai l'espoir que cette résolution sera votée par la 4e commission et par l'Assemblée générale.
The Prime Minister says that, of course, he is here to follow the debate on both the French and British Cameroons, but it is understandable that he's more interested in the fate of the French Cameroons, of which he is the Prime Minister, and he says that various resolutions have been submitted to the 4th Committee, and he hopes that the resolution submitted by 5 nations, including the United States and Italy and Haiti, New Zealand, will receive the majority vote in the 4th Committee.
Thank you very much, sir. Another very important voice to be heard from is Prime Minister J.N. Fanshawe of the British Cameroons. How do you feel about this situation, sir?
I wish to thank the members of the United Nations television branch for having given me this opportunity to express my impression of the United Nations General Assembly convened purposely to hear Cameroon's future. Before I leave for the southern Cameroons, I wish to express my deepest appreciation for the kind and friendly dispositions of everyone I have met at the United Nations. This opportunity has given me to thank them all, not only for myself but also for my honorable colleagues. The friendly atmosphere which characterizes the day-to-day business of the United Nations is in itself a contributing factor to the solution of the problems confronting the countries of the world. The solution of the difficulties delaying the progress of independence to the Cameroons as a whole has made good progress in view of the fact that the distinguished representatives are understanding what we want. The consideration to postpone some of the points presenting difficulty is a move in the right direction in view of the fact that before the 14th session assembles, more important information will be available. The course of the debate so far is encouraging because it is aiming to a kind of independence which will pave the way to the unity of Cameroon as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both, gentlemen.